All right, guys, we are live, obviously. Get off the screen. I'm just going to continue with Samuel. And Samuel said unto all Israel, Behold, I have hearkened unto your voices and all that ye said unto me, and have made a king over you. So they've been made the king. Saul's been made the king over all of Israel, and it's paired to something like that. It's a large gathering area. So he's talking to them in like a huge gathering area where Israel will congregate, national congregation, so they could pass the message on. And now, behold, the king walketh before you, and I am old and grey-headed, and behold, my sons are with you, and I have walked before you from my childhood unto this day. So this is Samuel talking. Behold, here I am, referring back to when God spoke to him. I love this it's just a little reference back to the beginning when the word of the Lord spoke to Samuel with Eli, and he went to go to Eli, going, here I am. Behold, here I am, witness against me before the Lord, before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken, or whose ass have I taken, or who have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed, or of whose hand have I received any bribe to blind mine eye wherein, and I will restore it to you. Now, when they talk about restoring in the Levitical text, it would be if you stole a sheep, you would give back four. Just a little note there. And they said, Thou hast not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither hast thou taken aught of any man's hand. And he said unto them, The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed witness this day. So his anointed is King Saul, because they asked for a king, and they got a king. And they have not found aught in my hand. And they answered, He is witness. And Samuel said unto the people, It is the Lord that advanced Moses and Aaron, that brought your fathers up out of the land of Egypt. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord of all the righteous acts of the Lord, which he did to you and to your fathers. So he's glorifying God in front of the people. He's saying, Look, do you not remember that God did these things? And remember earlier on, they'd turned to different gods. They'd gone and attacked the Philistines without consulting God. And they'd been absolutely butchered, lost 4,000 men, then 30,000 men previously. So they'd really taken a beating because they hadn't entreated the Lord to see what he wants them to do, because it's the Lord that gives them the victory. And he's saying, look, God's done this, God's done that for you. When Jacob was come out of Egypt, and your fathers cried unto the Lord, and the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, which brought forth your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in this place. So he gave them the land. And the Philistines had followed them. Later on, 400 years later, they came over by ships. The Philistines are descendants of the Egyptians. And when they forget the Lord their God, they sold them into the hands of the Caesarea, captain of the host of Hazar. Now, when they say captain of the host, it means king. Captain of the host of Hazar. And into the hand of the Philistines, into the hand of the king of Moab. And they fought against them. And they cried unto the Lord and said, We have sinned because we have forsaken the Lord and have served Baalim and Astaroth. But now deliver us out of the hand of our enemies, and we will serve thee. So previously, Saul was saying, Hey, put down your old gods and turn wholeheartedly back to the Lord. Turn wholeheartedly back to the Lord. There'd be 20 years when there was peace in the land. And the Lord sent to Jerubbaal and Bedin and Japheth and Samuel, and delivered you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and you dwelled safe. And when you saw that Nahash, the king of the children of Ammon, came against you, he said unto me, Nay, but a king shall reign over us, when the Lord your God was your king. So they were saying, look, we want to be like all the other nations. We want a king. We had judges before. It's the end of the judges. Yeah. And he said it was a shame for a woman to rule over men. And they had their female judge. I've forgotten her name. It's in Judges. What's she called? There's a female judge. And now therefore, behold the king whom you've chosen, and whom ye have desired, and behold, the Lord hath set a king over you. So you've desired this. I've given you your desires. You've called to me, and I've said, look, if you don't want Samuel to rule over you, well, I'll give you a king. Now, what's very interesting in Esther, it talks about there not being a ruler for 10 generations, and this is 9 generations later. So this isn't the king's anointed. This isn't the root of David as prophesied. You'll fear the Lord and serve him, obey his voice, and not rebel against the commandments of the Lord. Then shall both ye and also the king that reigneth over you continue following your Lord your God. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandments of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you as it was against your fathers. You see, discipline starts at the house of the Lord. Now therefore stand and see this great thing, which the Lord will do before your eyes. Is it not the wheat harvest today? I will call unto the Lord, and he shall send thunder and rain, that ye may perceive and see that your wickedness is great, which ye have done in the sight of the Lord. I'm asking you a king. So Samuel called unto the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. So just to bring it into modern day times, you see unseasonable weather that has happened in Israel because of their disobedience, even to this day. So it was a sign from God. They're not expecting this. It's destroying their harvest. So it's God controls everything. And all the people said to Samuel, pray for thy servant unto the Lord thy God, that we die not, for we have added unto all our sins this evil, to ask us a king. And Samuel said unto the people, fear not, ye have done all this wickedness, yet turn not aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. And turn ye not aside, for then should ye go after vain things, which cannot profit nor deliver, for they are vain. So they've gone after these things before. Remember when they brought the ark out, thinking they were celebrating the ark, and it's like the mercy seat of God is above it. It's the presence of God that was with them when God is for them. God can turn his hand against them. He doesn't need protecting as well. As we saw the boils and the mice that he plagued the Philistines, the 5 Philistine cities with. So vain things. For the Lord will not forsake his people for this great name's sake, because he hath pleased the Lord to make you his people. It's pleased the Lord. Moreover, for me, God forbid that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you, but I will teach you the good and the right way. So even Samuel is accountable. His relationship is affected by him. All fall short of the glory of God. Moreover, for me, God forbid that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you. It's a picture of the one intercessor between God and man, Samuel, the Lord's anointed, his prophet. Okay. Only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he hath done for you. So look all the history. But if ye shall still do wickedly, ye shall be consumed, both ye and your king. So he said, look, do this, everything will go well. Don't do this. You've seen what's happened before. Saul reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. Now, I love Jonathan. What a great character. Great character, but incredible. One of my favourite people in the Bible. In Gibeah of Benjamin, and the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that was in Geba, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Let the Hebrews hear. Now, when they say Saul blew the trumpet, it might be the shofar, which is a horn. And all Israel heard that Saul had smitten the garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel was had in abomination with the Philistines, and the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. Now, Gilgal is the capital at the moment. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastwards of Bethaven. When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, and the people did hide themselves in the caves, in the thickets, in the rocks, and in high places and in pits. So they're hiding from these people. Now, what you've got to remember is the advanced army that the Philistines had. They were the only one with good metal. They had iron He had iron shields. They describe Goliath's armor later on, and we found Goliath's armor. It's incredible. You can look that up. Right in the location where he was. It talks about the weight of the shekels and things like that. So this is scary. This is fighting tanks. This is what a chariot is. Charioteers. You don't want to mess with these things. And so some of the Hebrews went over to Jordan, to the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. And this is the king. And he tarried 7 days. Interesting. According to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me, and a peace offering. And he offered the burnt offering. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering and burnt offerings, behold, Samuel came. And Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. And Samuel said, what hast thou done? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that thou camest not within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash. Therefore the Philistines, will come down now unto me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering. So he's not following what God has done. There's no urgency. There's no urgency in it. It's like, well, I've forced this thing. So Samuel said, so thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandments of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever. But now thy kingdom shall not continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart. And the Lord hath commanded him to be captain over his people, to be king over his people, because thou hast not kept that which the Lord commanded thee. And Samuel arose and gat him up from Gal unto Gibeah of Benjamin. And Saul numbered the people that was present with him, about 600 men. So he's saying, look, the Lord's departed from you. Yeah. And I've anointed someone else to be king over all his people. And Saul and Jonathan his son and the people that were present with him abode in Gibeah of Benjamin. But the Philistines encamped in Michmash. And the spoilers came out of their camp of the Philistines in 3 companies. One company turned unto the way that leadeth to Ophrah, unto the land of Shaul. And another company turned the way of Betheron. And another company turned the way of the borders that looked into the valley of Zeboim towards the wilderness. Now there was no smith found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, lest the Hebrews make them swords and spears. So the Hebrews, they were slaves for years. Now they're fighting against people who have the best armory. They outnumber them magnificently. The people are dispersing from Saul. Saul hasn't followed the ways of the Lord, and the Lord has anointed another. The Lord has anointed another. So this is scary territory. So now there was no smith throughout the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, lest the Hebrews make them swords and spears. So they don't even have weapons, really. They have old weapons. But all the Israelites went down to the Philistines to sharpen every man his share, and his coulter, and his axe, and his mattock. I presume they are basic farming equipment, things like this, an axe for wood cutting. And they had a file for the mattocks, and for the coulters, and for the forks, and for the axes, to sharpen the goads, to sharpen the spikes. So it came to pass in the day of battle that there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people that was Saul and Jonathan. But with Saul and with Jonathan his son was there found. And the garrison of the Philistines went out to the passage of Michmash. You do not want to be in this situation. Now it came to pass upon that day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said unto the young men that bare his armor. This is why I love Jonathan. Listen to this. Now it came to pass upon a day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said to the young man that bare his armor bearer. Remember, Jonathan is a prince, a young prince. Come, let us go over to the Philistines' garrison that is on the other side. But he told not his father. So Jonathan, a young lad, has gone, armor bearer, let us just go over there. Don't tell anybody. We're going to sneak over to the Philistines, the camp. And Saul tarried in the uttermost part of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree, which is in Migron, and the people that were with him were about 600 men. So he's left the 600 men, and a young lad, a prince, and his armor bearer have toodled off to the Philistines' camp, fully armored, with the chariots and all this stuff. And Ahiah, the son of Ahitub, and Ichabod's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Shiloh, wearing an ephod. Yeah. And the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. So he just disappeared. And between the passages which Jonathan sought to go over unto the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on the other side, and a sharp rock on the other side. And the name of one was Bozez, and the name of the other Seneh. And the forefront of the one was situated northwards over Michmash, and the other southwards over against Gibeah. And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, Come, let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us, that there is no restraint. Now listen to his faith. This is why I love Jonathan. For there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or to save by few. So he has just gone, hey, let's sneak out, go to the camp. They're over there. There's no restraint to the Lord. We know what he's done. He has great faith. This prince has great faith. He says, if the Lord is with us, he can save by many or save by a few. And his armor bearer said to him, do all that is in thine heart. Turn thee, behold, I am with thee according to thine heart. Because God searches the heart. Then said Jonathan, behold, we'll pass over unto these men, and we will discover ourselves unto them. We'll show ourselves. We'll say, hey, we're here. And if they say thus unto us, tarry until we come to you, then we will stand still in our place. We will not go up unto them. But if they say thus, come up to us, then we will go up, for the Lord hath delivered them into our hands, and this shall be a sign unto us. Just waiting for a sign. And both of them discovered themselves unto the garrison of the Philistines. And the Philistines said, behold, the Hebrews come forth out of their holes where they had hid themselves. And the men of the garrison answered Jonathan and his armor bearer and said, come up to us, we will show you a thing. So they're taunting them. And Jonathan said unto his armor bearer, come up after me, for the Lord hath delivered them into the hand of Israel. Two guys. Jonathan's brilliant, mate. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor bearer after him. And they fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer slew after him. And that first slaughter with Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men within, as it were, half an acre of land, which a yoke of oxen might plough. So they've just run up and slew 20 guys. Yeah, with no swords. Yeah, there's no sword was found in the hand of Israel. They had no smith. They had no blacksmith. Yeah, it says the Lord's with us, so he can save by many, he can save by a few. They've given us a sign. This is, and we're going to go up. And he runs up and he kills 20 people. And there was trembling in the host, in the field, and among all the people, the garrison and the spoilers that also trembled, and the earth quaked. So it was a very great trembling. So you've got to imagine this. They've been hiding in caves, in pits, with no armor, scared, trembling in fear of the Philistines who are camped just over the hill. No? And they've hid. And Jonathan said, left 600 people, not told anyone where he's gone up and said, if the Lord is with us, they'll call us up. He's gone up there, slew 20 men, and then an earthquake has come. Yeah, God is with them. Yeah, an earthquake. And it was a very great trembling. And the watchmen of Saul and Gibeah of Benjamin looked, and behold, the multitude melted away, and they went on beating down one another. Then said Saul unto the people that were with him, number now and see who is gone from us. So they're saying, hang on, there's an earthquake happening over where the Philistines are. What's going on here? Number everyone. Let's see what's happening. Let's see who's missing. And when they had numbered, behold, Jonathan and his armor bearer were not there. And Saul said to Ahiah, bring hither the ark of God, for the ark of God was at that time with the children of Israel. So they'd been left for 20 years in one of the nearest villages as the oxen had brought it through. And it came to pass, while Saul talked unto the priest, that the noise that was in the house of the Philistines went up on an increase. And Saul said unto the priest, withdraw thine hand. And Saul and all the people that were with him assembled themselves, and they came to the battle. And behold, every man's sword was against his fellow, and there was a very great discomfiture. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp for the country round about, even they also turned to be with the Israelites that were with Saul and Jonathan. Let me fathom this. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp for the country round about. Even they also turned to be with Israelites. They were with Saul and Jonathan. So they're captives, and the people that were local, that were ruled over by the Philistines, have thrown off the shackles and come to be. And you see this turning of the tide just by one man's faith and an armor bearer running through an earthquake, slewing 20 people. That faith of them hiding in caves. Now they're rushing up to the Philistines. And all the Jews that were with them, that were in camp, that were kind of held captive, have just said, no, forget this. And they've come, and you see the turning of the tide through faith, through the faith of one man and his armor bearer. Likewise, all the men of Israel, which had hid themselves in the mountain Ephraim, when they heard that the Philistines fled, even they also followed hard after them in battle. I'll mention this again. If you're white, European descendant, your tribe is Ephraim or Manasseh. Even they also followed hard after them in battle. So the Lord saved Israel that day, and the battle passed over unto Bethaven. So it's a rolling battle. And the men of Israel were distressed that day, for Saul had adjured the people, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food until the evening. Now this is unusual. This is unusual. Feasts to be celebrated. Now Saul's saying, don't eat. But when God gives you victory, you should be celebrating. It doesn't make sense. In repentance, in saying sorry, you should fast. You should tear your clothes, put mud on your head, put ashes on your head, and sackcloth. And he's saying, hey, don't eat. Listen, it goes, Cursed be the man that eateth any food until evening, that I may be avenged on mine enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. Now you've got these guys hiding in caves that have suddenly got the courage. The Lord is with them. They've run up a hill. They've attacked the Philistines. The captives have joined them from one man's faith. An earthquake's happened. And they've been fighting all day. They're tired. They need food to sustain. And Saul said, No. Cursed be the man that eateth any food until the evening, that they may be avenged on mine enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. And all they of the land came to the wood, and there was honey upon the ground. And when the people were coming to the wood, behold, the honey dropped, but no man put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. But Jonathan heard not when his father charged the people with the oath. Wherefore he put forth the end of the rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in a honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes were enlightened. He's got the energy, he's got the vitality, he's got a little sugar boost. They answered one of the people and said, Thy father straitly charged the people with an oath, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food this day. And the people were faint. They're tired. Then said Jonathan, My father hath troubled the land. See, I pray you, how mine eyes have been enlightened, because I have tasted a little of this honey. How much more, if haply the people had eaten freely to the day of spoils of their enemies which they found? For had there not been now a much greater slaughter among the Philistines? They're saying, look, if we'd have eaten this honey, we'd have been revised. We could have gone and wiped out our enemies more, but we're starving, we're fasting, whilst we're on a rolling battle through city to city. Why? We were hiding in caves. Now the Lord is with us. This doesn't make sense. We should be celebrating. And they smote the Philistines that day from Michmash to Ajalon, and the people were very faint. And the people flew upon the spoils, and took sheep and oxen and calves, and slew them on the ground. And the people did eat with them with the blood. The breaking of Levitical law. This is not good. So they've gone, they've found that the cattle, they've killed them, they've set a bonfire, they're having a barbecue, and because of the rush, they haven't drained the blood. So they're going against God again. They need to understand, but we all make mistakes. It's very easy to point the fingers at the past, but it's harder to point the finger at yourself. And the people did eat them with blood. Then they told Saul, saying, Behold, the people sin against the Lord, that they eat with the blood. And he said, Ye have transgressed. Roll a great stone unto me this day. And Saul said, Disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, Bring me hither every man his ox, and every man his sheep, and slay them here, and eat. And they sin not against the Lord in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox with him that night, and slew them there. And Saul built an altar unto the Lord. The same was the first altar that he built unto the Lord. So he's making sacrifices. making sacrifices unto the Lord. Yeah. And Saul said, let us go down after the Philistines by night and spoil them until the morning light, and let us not leave a man out of them. And they said, do whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Then said the priest, let us draw near hither unto God. Clever lad. Let us entreat God. Let's see what God wants us to do, Saul. This is what God wants us to do. Is God for us? He's done all this, but we haven't entreated him. We haven't asked him what we should do. And Saul asked counsel of God. Shall I go down unto the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he answered him not that day. They've been eating bud. That's like you're ceremonially unclean. Your whole army is ceremonially unclean. You have to understand the washing, the ritual rules. If you want to study and understand the Bible better, go to Levitical laws. So they're ceremonially unclean. And Saul said, draw ye hither all the chiefs of the people, and know and see wherein the sin hath been this day. For as the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But there was not a man among all the people that answered him. Then he said unto all Israel, be ye on one side, and I, Jonathan my son, will be on the other side. And the people said unto Saul, do what seemeth good unto thee. Therefore Saul said unto the Lord God of Israel, give a perfect lot. And Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Saul said, cast lots between me and Jonathan my son. And Jonathan was taken. Then Saul said to Jonathan, tell me what thou hast done. And Jonathan told him and said, I did but taste a little honey with the end of the rod that was in mine hand, and lo, I must die. And Saul answered, God, do so and more so, for thou shalt surely die, Jonathan. So you need to understand, God was with his son, the prince, Jonathan, and he went through faith and turned the tides of oppression with men hiding in caves through running up, slewing 20 people, and then an earthquake followed, and then he's had a little bit of honey because he hasn't seen it, when he should be celebrating, having feasts. They should be, yeah, go for it. Don't eat meat and blood, but you go for it. It's a bit of honey. But Saul's made this silly oath. No one's going to eat anything this day whilst we're on a rolling battle. It's stupid. It's just silly. And now his son's done it. God, do so, and more also, for thou shalt surely die, Jonathan. And this is his son. He loves his son. And the people said unto Saul, Saul, shall Jonathan die, who hath wrought this great salvation of Israel? God forbid. As the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair on his head fall to the ground, for he hath wrought with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, that he died not. So the people have said, hang on, king. No, not hair on his head shall fall. You're not going to kill your son. Okay. Then Saul went up from following the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. Then Saul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, against the children of Ammon, against Edom, against the kings of Zohab, and against the Philistines. And whitherso he turned himself, he vexed them. So he's kicking butt now. And he gathered a host and smote the Amalekites and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them. Now the sons of Saul were Jonathan and Ishu and Melchishua. And the name of his two daughters were these, the name of the firstborn Merab, and the name of the younger Michael. And the name of Saul's wife was Ahinoam, and the daughter of Ahimaaz. And the name of the captain of his host was Abner, the son of Ner, Saul's uncle. And Kish was the father of Saul, and Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. And there was sore war against the Philistines all the days of Saul. And Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him unto him. I remember he said the king shall rule over. He wrote down the laws that Samuel had prophesied before. This is what king will do. He'll take a tenth. He'll take your young men captives, hold them over 1,000, hold them over 100. So this is what the king is going to do. And it is a physical picture of the priest class, the 10%, the tithes, the offerings. They didn't own land. So you see it. Not the priest, but the king, and it's a type and shadow. Whatever, they took him unto him. Let's continue. Samuel also said to Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee king over his people, over Israel. Now, therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now, Amalek, I want you to fill in this. Amalek, when they were fleeing from Egypt, the Amaleks attacked the back of the carriage. You have a train, you have the fittest men going first, and the enfeebled ones at the end. They were being picked off. They were being waited for a tribe who were coming in and killing the back of the carriage as they're leaving Egypt. Thus said the Lord, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid in wait for him in the way when they came up from Egypt. Now listen to this, because this is gonna resonate all the way through. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man, woman, infant, suckling, ox, sheep, camel, and ass. Now the Muslims, when I debate them, say, why did he destroy all these people? Well, you have giants in there. You have people that their sole purpose is to destroy Israel. And it's the king in Esther. Hamar in Esther is an Amalek. And he said, without the king's permission, to put a decree out to kill all the Jews. He was at Hitler. He literally put a decree out to kill all the Jews. And Esther was a Jew. She hid in her identity. She was a Jew, and she went to the king and she said, Hamar, he's trying to kill all of us, and he was put to death. So we see the repercussions and why God said these things. He's saying, kill everything, destroy everything, wipe them from the face of the earth. This is what God said. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. This is what God says. Okay. So Saul gathered the people together and numbered them till tell him 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. Now Judah's the biggest tribe. Yeah. And you do see a split later. So it's a shadow of the split of the kingdoms. And Saul came to the city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Canaanites, go and depart, get down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them, for ye shewed kindness to all the children of Israel, and they came up out of Egypt. So the Canaanites departed from among the Amalekites. So they're saying, hey, you showed kindness to us. Get out of here. They tried to wipe us off. God said to absolutely annihilate them. Get out from them. This is not your fight. Get away from them. So depart from the Kenites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah unto comest to Shur, that was over against Egypt. Yeah. So remember, the Philistines, the Amalekites, they all came from Egypt. Yeah. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. Do you see a problem there? He took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. This is someone who drinks blood, is just the biggest pagan king you can imagine. Yeah. Okay, so alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and his people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly. So they're taking the best part of their thing. They're taking booty. They've left the king alive. They didn't destroy all of them. Yeah, it says it utterly destroyed them. It didn't destroy all of them. And then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, it repenteth me. So the voice of the Lord, it repenteth me. This is why we have to understand what repent means. I changed my mind. Changed my mind me, that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned his back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. Samuel is the intercessor between God and man. He's God's spokesperson on earth. He's anointed Saul, been a great king, made a few mistakes, but he keeps getting worse. He keeps not listening exactly how he says. Now, when he takes Agag, what he's doing is he's parading. He's saying, hey, look at me. Look, I've got the king. Hey, we'll parade the king through the street. Oh, and all these, look at all this bounty over here. Look at we're taking the best of the slot. He said, destroy it. Animals and beasts, kill him. Do you know he should have killed them? Right then and there. Every single one of them. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. When Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, he was told, Samuel, saying, Samuel came to Carmel. This is the holy mountain. And behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I perform the commandments of the Lord. And so I perform the commandments of the Lord. And Samuel said, what meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ear, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear, saying, so what are these sheep doing here? When he said destroy everything, animals, children, women, men, everything, annihilate them. Why am I hearing oxen bleating? Where they come from? So I've kept the commandments of the Lord. And Saul said, they have brought them from the Amalekites, from the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Did God ask him to sacrifice? Obeying is better than sacrifices. The Bible says it all the way through. Obeying is better than sacrifice. So if you want to know how to, we are living sacrifices. You don't need the sacrament system of the Catholics. It's mental. We raise up holy hands. Then Samuel said unto Saul, stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord has said to me this night. And he said unto him, say on. And Samuel said, when thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel, and the Lord anointed thee king over Israel? He's done great things for you. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoils, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord. I have gone the way which the Lord sent me. I have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. Well, you haven't utterly destroyed them, because you've got the king of Amalek parading him around as victory spoils. But the people took of the spoils sheep and oxen, the chief of these things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. Obeying is greater sacrifice. You remember what happened in the Battle of Ai with Joshua, when one of the tribes stole, they put the valuables underneath the tent, and they found out who it was, and they utterly destroyed the family. And because they lost this battle. Like, what's happened? Someone sinned, because it's a covenant with a nation, a national covenant. If one sin, it affects the whole body. You have to understand the covenant that God has with Israel. It's a national covenant. It's a national covenant. So we've seen this in Joshua when they crossed. So we see it. Sacrifice to the Lord in Gilgal. And Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? As I just said, obeying is better than sacrifice. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice. Gosh. And to hearken than the fat of rams. Listen to me. I don't need a bit of burnt food. I want you to listen to what I say. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. I remember doing a Bible study on this recently. And the stubbornness is iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected thee from being king. Ooh, boom, mic drop. Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandments of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore I pray thee, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord. And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord hath rejected thee from being king over Israel. And Samuel turned about to go away. He laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle and rent it. Yeah. So Samuel's taken the mantle, and torn his mantle. And Samuel said unto him, the Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbour of thine that is better than you. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent. God isn't going to change his mind. God isn't going to change his mind. It's done, Saul. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honour me now, I pray thee, before the elders of my people, before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord thy God. He's saying, look, please, Samuel, come, let us do sacrifices. Come, show your face to the elders, and give me honour, and let them know that I'm still king. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Then said Samuel, bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. Yeah, so we see that, so their mother be childless among women. So we see that some of the Amalekites left. As Samuel hew Agag in pieces before the Lord of Gilgal. This is an old man. Pulled out the sword and smote a king. Just boom, butchered him into pieces. Then Samuel went to Ramah. This is where he was born. And Saul went up to his house in Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. So he's departed from him. This is the prophet of Israel. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul because he loves him. And then the Lord repented that he made Saul king over Israel. God changed his mind that he made Saul king over Israel. We've got to understand what repent means. It breaks my heart that people don't know what it means. God can't say sorry. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I provided me a king among his sons. So in faith, he's going to find Jesse a Bethlehemite. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take a heifer with thee, and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did which the Lord had spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably? You've got to remember, Saul is a prophet. He just slew Agag. He's an old man. Samuel is not to be messed with, not Saul. Samuel is not to be messed with. Yeah, everything that he says comes true. And he said, peaceably, I've come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. So he's called all of his sons to the sacrifice, and that to prepare themselves to be, sanctify yourselves, so get washed in the mikveh, do everything to be ceremonially clean in the Levitical law. And it came to pass that when they come, that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said to Samuel, look not at his countenance, nor the height of his stature. So Samuel has said, he's been told to go to Jesse. He says, one of Jesse's sons is the future king of Israel. And he's seen the lads, 6 lads in front of him, and he's gone to the tallest son. Oh, surely you're the future king of Israel. Yeah. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not at his countenance, nor at the height of his stature, because I have refused him, for the Lord seeth not as a man seeth. Remember Saul, who was head and shoulders taller than anyone in Israel. He was a giant of a man, big man, handsome, big man, domineering. He said, you want a king? I'll give you a king. As you see fit, as the world sees fit. He's big, he's tall, yeah, he can rule over you, yeah, cool. But this is not what God sees. He sees the heart. He sees the heart. I refused him, for the Lord seeth not as a man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. And in one of the Psalms, David said, Lord, search my heart, see if there's anything bad in it. This is David, this is the Psalm of David. Search my heart, Lord. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made his pass before Samuel, and he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Again Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel, and Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, hear all thy children. And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he cometh hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he hasn't done a ceremonial cleaning, which is interesting. Now he was ruddy, and withal a beautiful countenance, and a goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. He was anointed a king. The Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, behold, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servant, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player of the harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that they shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. So they're saying, hey, something's happened with Saul. Saul's got an evil spirit among him. He's going mad, basically. The spirit of the Lord has departed from him. We need to look after our king. He's not anointed anymore, but people don't know that. People are not aware of these kind of things. So David is in the fields, and he's always got his harp. Great poet, writer of songs. David is a very talented man, very talented young man, small as well. He's not a big boy. Yeah. And Saul said unto his servants, provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of the servants, said, behold, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, prudent in matters, a comely person, and the Lord is with him. Wherefore Saul sent a messenger to Jesse and said, send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. So the king, who's the spirit of the Lord has departed, is getting one of his servants to say, I know of a guy, the Lord's with him. And so David is taken into the household of Saul, into the household of the king, but David's anointed king. You always see this in power. You see Moses, you see Joseph taken into power with the king, you see Esther. Power, godly power is always placed next to the evil. Yeah, it's departed from Saul. He's not the anointed king. So you see this type of shadow all the time, which is with the sheep. And Jeffrey took an ass laden with bread and a bottle of wine and a kid, and sent them by David his son to Saul. And David came to Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. And Saul sent to Jesse, because an armor bearer would be very close. So when this evil spirit comes along, he's there. He's like, play your lute quick. Play your harp, the psalter or the harp, the 10-stringed instrument, or play the harp. It's the harp, isn't it? So play the harp. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he hath found favour in my sight. It's like this kid's doing it. The kid's music is helping. When it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took a harp and played with his hands, so Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. Yeah. I watched a great video as well about music and the person behind it and what it does. Music is very powerful. Satan was the chief musician. So music is really powerful. Be really careful what you listen to as Christians. I used to be a singer. I gave up everything when I found Jesus. I was like, I don't know what I'm playing with. Put it down. But music is so powerful. Yeah, just advice where we can see from the scriptures. We should take the wisdom and we should apply it to our lives. Knowledge, wisdom is knowledge applied. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shochoh, which belonged to Judah, and pitched between Shochoh and Azekah in Ephes Dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched in the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the other side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. Big boy. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. Now, if you want to take a note, they found this armor. Yeah, they found this armor. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. It's a little diamond shape. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam. This big boy, this. And his spear head weighed 600 shekels of iron. And one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servant to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. This was common practice. Having a champion, so not everyone died. Said, look, if your guy loses, we win the battle, you'll be slaves with us again, and vice versa. Now they've gone and they've sunk There were giants in the earth in those days and also after. And the hatred that they have, the fall for Nephilim for Israel, the thing, if you give us victory, we can come out of our caves. We've been hiding, we've been defeated, but we can come out. We'll fight for you if you'll give us honor. So Goliath has come forward and said, I'll fight for you. Give me a chance to kill a few Israelites. Give me the children of God. I'll do that. Yeah. So we see the anger and why they would come together, these people. Let him come to me. If he was able to fight with me and to kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then ye shall be our servants and serve us. And remember, these came from Egypt. They want to put them back in captivity. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Can you imagine seeing a giant? And all the armies of the Philistines around. And David was the son of the Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went among the men from an old man in the day of Saul. And the man went among men for an old man in the day of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to battle. So his brothers are in battle. And the name of his 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. So 3 of his 7 sons, and David being the 8th, have gone to battle. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep to Bethlehem. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. 40 days is a time of testing. We see this all the way through. The time of testing, 40 days. Jesus fasted. Moses, 40, 40, 40. It's all split up in 40. Lived 120 years. If you see 40, it's a time of testing. Yeah. Just little things. The numbers mean things in the Bible. And Jesse said unto David, his son, take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn and these 10 loaves, and run into the camp of thy brethren. So he's saying, go take some food for my brothers, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how their brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went, and Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and for Philistine had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel he is coming up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what should be done with the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? Because he's coming forward and mocking God for 40 days. For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? The people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that kill him. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men that Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. There's a young kid who's trying to protect him. And David said, what have I done now? What have I now done? And there is not cause. And he turned from him towards another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. It's a young boy. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he is a man of war from his youth. And David said to Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. The servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. He's saying, if you defy the armies of the living God. David wants to be the hands and feet of God. David said, moreover, the Lord had delivered me out of the paws of the lion, out of the paw of the bear. He would deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. Let the Lord be with thee. So Samuel armed David with his armor. Now you've got to remember, David, what you're looking at here is a young boy who's come to give his brothers food, who is at the last of the generation. His three oldest sons are fighting. And he's with the king. He knows the king. He was his armor bearer. He plays the lute for him. Said, I've killed a lion. I've killed a bear. He's mocking God. I'll take him. And now Saul is seen. Let God be with you. And he's putting his armor on him. Saul's head and shoulders higher than anyone else in Israel. Saul is a monster among men. Goliath is a giant. There's a big discrepancy. But so this armor's not going to fit him. Armor's not going to fit him. So Saul armed David with his armor. If you get into battle, kid, take this armor. And he put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor. And he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. Essayed to go, for he had not proved it. He doesn't know this armor. He never carried armor before. He's never probably held a sword in his life. And David said to Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proven them. And David put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smoked stones out of the brook. Now, this is interesting. Watch this. Later on, you see that Goliath has 4 brothers. 3 of them are named. David picks out 5 stones. David was ready to kill Goliath and then kill his brothers if they came in honor of him. This is a bad boy, young kid, never wore armor before, never had a sword, anointed by God, come up to the king who he plays the harp for and said, oh, I'll fight for him. He goes, okay, go. Well, man, no, I don't need your armor. He goes and picks out 5 stones and takes his staff. He's a shepherd. Picture of Christ, the good shepherd. Come on. And he's using a stone. Jesus is referred to as our rock, our stone. Yeah. You see it all the time. You see when the image in Daniel where a stone breaks the statue. It's the image of Christ. You've got to see these pictures. You've got to learn how God speaks. Then he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. So this is giant, his shield bearer, walking out a shield because it's massive. And David's just walking out by himself, and there's a valley where they're on each side. That's why they're not attacking each other, because they hold the high ground, and the attacking army would lose. So when the Philistines looked about, he saw David. He disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of fair countenance. And the Philistines said to David, am I a dog, that thou comest with me with a stave? And the Philistines cursed David by his gods. So they're insulting his gods, saying, oh, is this all you've got? Are you going to throw me a stick? He's making jokes with him. It's quite funny. You're going to throw me a stick on my dog? What, your staff? Is this your champion for 40 days? I've been slagging off your God. And we'll go into captivity if you can kill me, but we'll take you captive if I kill you. Now you sent me a boy. Am I going to go fetch this stick? It's quite funny. Let me say that. Am I a dog, that thou comest with me with a stave? The Philistines cursed David by his gods. Not a good idea. And the Philistines said to David, come to me, and I'll give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. Then David said to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come in the name of the Lord of hosts, God of the armies of Israel, who thou hast defied. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hands, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth. And all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. How's he going to cut his head off? He's got a stave. He's got a staff and 5 stones and a bit of leather. Bad boy. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth, not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistines arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, and the Philistines, singular, drew nigh to meet David, that David hastened and ran towards the army to meet the Philistines. Philistine, singular. And David put his hand in the bag and took thence a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead and he fell upon the face of the earth. Now, why David knows about this? The Benjamites were great with the slings and their armies were next to it. Yeah, if you work out, the Benjamites were amazing with the slings. So he's from Judah, isn't he? And he was a shepherd. He knew what he was doing with this shot. One shot, he's got one shot, and he runs at him. He runs at him and bang, smack in his face, shot in the head with a stone. Boom, right in the head. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, took his sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. You have to imagine how big this sword is that David's pulling out and chopping off. Remember, he grabbed a lion by its beard and slew it with his bare hands. With God, the strength, look at Samson. Yeah, all things are possible with Christ. So he pulls out his sword and chops his own head off. Gangster, mate. That's what we call gangster. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. They're thinking, hang on, what's happening here? And the men of Israel and Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until thou come to the valley and the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Sarim, even to Gath and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, and he put his armor in his tent. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistines, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host of Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, as thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, inquire that whose son the stripling is. And David returned from the slaughter of the Philistines. Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistines in his hand. With the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said unto him, whose son art thou, thou young man? And David answered, I am the son of thy servant Jesse the Bethlehemite. We'll read a little bit longer because I've done an hour, I think. And it came to pass that when he had made an end of speaking to Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. So this is the prince. This is the prince. Remember the courage of Jonathan when he ran forwards into the Philistine encampment and slew 20, and an earthquake happened, and that rebellion started, saying, I love this guy. Who is this guy? Yeah. The anointing's passed from David. David's the anointed king. Saul's just king. The spirit's left. And Saul took him that day and would not let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garment, even to his sword, to his bow, and to his girdle. Jonathan recognized who David was. Yeah, not knowing he was anointed yet. And David went out whither ever so Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely, as Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all thy people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. So everyone loves David. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the woman came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. I won't go into my little diversion of how Catholics think that their music's so worthy. When they play 10-stringed instruments, they play guitars, cymbals, and make a joyful noise. But theirs is it's weird. A woman answered one another as they played and said, Saul has slain his thousands, David his 10,000s. So can you imagine you're king, and then there's this young boy, and they're singing songs about, oh, Saul slayed his thousands and David his 10,000s. This is the local song. This is the jukebox. This is what the girls are singing on the street. This is your TikTok song, you know. And Saul was very wroth, and then the sayings displeased him, and he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000, and to me they have described thousands. What can he have more but the kingdom? And Saul eyed David from that day and forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit of God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David, even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. So the evil spirits come upon Saul. Remember, he's tormented, he's playing the instrument. He's thrown a javelin at him. It's not good, twice. So there's something happening here. And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul. Now Saul knows the spirit's departed from him. And Saul removed him from him, and made him his captain over thousands. And he went out and came before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him, because he's a threat to his kingdom. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab. Here will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul said, Let not mine hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. Okay, so Saul doesn't want David to live. Don't let my hand be on him. Let the hand of the Philistines be on him. Send him to battle. He'll die in war. I'll get rid of the problem. Yeah. Don't let my hand be on him. I don't want to kill him. People hate me. They love David. They're singing songs about him. But I put him at the front of the army. It's not a good chance to live. But let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David said to Saul, Who am I? And what is my life? For my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king. But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel, the Melathamites, to wife. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him, that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delighted in thee, and all his servant loved thee. Now therefore be king's son-in-law. And Saul's servant spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be king's son-in-law? Seemeth I am a poor man, and lightly esteemed, and this is very humble. And the servants of Saul told him, saying, On this manner spake David. And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, The king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines, to say, David, you love this girl, yeah, you want her? Go and give me 100 foreskins of the uncircumcised, right? Because he thinks 100 people will die. He'll die. They sent him out on a death mission. If you want my daughter, go give me 100 foreskins. Can you imagine a bag of... Anyway, let's keep it PG. And when his servant told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought the foreskins and gave them and a full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal his daughter to wife. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually. He can't get rid of this kid. He's trying to kill him in the battles. He's trying to send him out to get foreskins. You know, you have to kill the person, obviously. You're not going to let that just slip by you. Then the prince of the Philistines went forth. And it came to pass, after they went forth, David behaved himself more wise than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. He's very respected, David. And Saul spake to Jonathan his son, and to all his servants, that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul, my father seeketh to kill thee. Now therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning. Abide in a secret place and hide thyself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father of thee. And what I see, I will tell thee. And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father, and said unto him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against David. because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee ward very good. For he did put his life in his hand, and slew the Philistines, and the Lord wrought a great salvation for all of Israel. Thou sawest it, didn't rejoice. Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood to slay David without cause? And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan, this is his son. And Saul sware, as the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain. And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan shewed him all those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence, as in times past. Back close to the king. And there was war again. David went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, and he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand. And Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin, but he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall, and David fled and escaped that night. So when the spirit is coming against him, he's trying to kill the Lord's anointed. It's an evil spirit. Saul also sent messages unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster, and covered it with a cloth. So his wife's pretending that he's in bed. And when Saul sent messenger to David, he is sick. And Saul sent the messenger again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when the messengers come in, behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. And Saul said unto Michal, Why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he escaped me? What, you want to kill my husband, Dad? And Michal answered Saul, he said unto me, Let me go, why should I kill thee? So David fled and escaped, and came to Samuel to Ramah. Samuel's not visited Saul since Saul disobeyed God, killing the Amaleks, and told him all that Saul had done with him. And he and Samuel dwelt in Naioth. And it was told Samuel, saying, Behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. And Saul sent a messenger to take David. And when they saw the company of prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as an appointed over them, the Spirit of God was upon the messenger of Saul, and they also prophesied. And when it was told to Saul, he said to other messengers, they prophesied likewise. And Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also. And then he also to Ramah came to a great well that is in Shechem. And he asked and said, Where is Samuel and David? And one said, Behold, they are in Naioth in Ramah. And he went thither to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God was upon him also. And he went on and prophesied until he came to Naioth of Ramah. And he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets? Remember, Saul prophesied earlier on in the book. So the Spirit of the Lord has come upon him again. It comes on and off in the Old Testament. And David fled from Naioth and Ramah, and came and said before Jonathan, What have I done? What is my iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life? And he said unto him, God forbid thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great or small, but that he will shew it to me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. So he's telling his son, and his son's telling David, Hey, David, I've got a plan. You've got to run this time, do this. And David swore, moreover, that thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he saith, Let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, there is but a step between me and death. Then said Jonathan unto David, Whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, so it's a Sabbath. I should not fail to sit with the king at meat, but let me go, that I may hide myself in the field unto the third day at even. And if thy father is at all missed me, then said David earnestly, Asked leave of me that he might run to Bethlehem his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. And he says thus, It is well, thy servant shall have peace, but if he be very wroth, then be sure that the evil is determined by him. Therefore thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant, for thou hast brought thy servant into a covenant of the Lord with thee. Notwithstanding, if there be any iniquity in me, slay me thyself, for why shouldest thou bring me to thy father? And Jonathan said, Far be it from thee, for if I knew certainly that evil was determined by my father to come upon thee, then would I not tell thee? Then David said to Jonathan, Who shall tell me? Or what if thy father answer thee roughly? And Jonathan said unto David, Come, let us go out into the field. And they went out both of them into the field. And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time or the third day, and behold, if there be a good towards David, then I send not unto thee, and shew it thee. The Lord do so, and much more to Jonathan. But if it pleases my father to do thee evil, then I will shew it thee, and send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace, and the Lord be with thee. And he hath been with my father, as he hath been with my father. The Lord was with his dad, and that is now with David. And thou shalt not only while yet I live, show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not. But thou also shalt not cut off thy kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. The scepter shall not depart from Judah. Yeah, if we know that and who David's from. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, Let the Lord even inquire it at the hand of David's enemies. And Jonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly, and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself, when the business was in hand, and shalt remain by the stone of Azel. And when I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot them at the mark, and behold, I will send a lad, saying, Go, find out the arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, Behold, the arrows are on the side of thee, take them, then come thou, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Lord liveth. But if I say thus unto the young man, Behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way, for the Lord has sent thee away. And as touching the matter which I have spoken of, behold, the Lord be between thee and me forever. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon has come, the king sat him down to meat. And the king sat upon the seat, as at other times, even upon the seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose. Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something hath befallen him. He is not clean, surely he is not clean. Samuel knew cleanness. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said to Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not to the son of Jesse to meat, neither yesterday nor the day? And Jonathan answered Saul, saying, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city, and my brother, he hath commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favour in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee. And see, my brethren, therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of the perverse rebellious woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thy no confusion, and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. So he wants to give his kingdom to his son. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Saul his father, saying unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him. Whether Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and did eat no meat the 2nd day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father had done him shame. And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a little lad with him. And he said unto his lad, Run, find out now the arrows which I shoot. And as the lad ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? And Jonathan cried after the lad, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows and came to his master. So it's a little code so they can work out whether they should run or come in. And the lad knew not anything, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto his lad, and said unto him, Go, carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of the place towards the south and fell on his face to the ground and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another and wept one another until David exceeded. And Jonathan said to David, go in peace, for as much as we have sworn, both of us, in the name of the Lord, saying, the Lord be between me and thee, and between my seed and thy seed forever. He arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed it. I wasn't really reading the comments, but I'm just loving. I'm loving Jonathan and David are just quality. Bro, it's too late for me to have a chat. It's 1:30. I'm just. I do a lot of Bible study, and I'm thinking. I think it's important that I do more of the word. I'm not doing YouTube as much, guys. I've got so much going on in my life, and I need to put my time into other things at the moment. I'm continuing evangelizing. God gives me people. All that stuff's happening. There's a lot happening in my work spiritually with people coming to Christ, which is beautiful. Obviously, I'm studying. All I ever do is study. I love the Bible. So I just encourage you, read your Bible. Let God be true and every man a liar. And take your time. I've been listening to Chuck Missler's Samuel exposition. I think it's 16 hours, something like 12 in. I've done all Chuck Missler stuff before, some of them multiple times, but I'm going over it again. And then I watched The House of David. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's brilliant. And I happened to be studying it 4 days before. I've been studying it all that week, and then it came on. So if you can watch anything, watch The House of David. It's brilliant. It honestly, it's rare that Christians make good movies. So if you go from anything, go watch The House of David. It's like a 7-part series, and it's made to the level of kind of The Chosen style. At that level, I'm pleasantly pleased with it. So guys, I love you loads. I hope you have been edified. I hope you've grown in wisdom and in knowledge. God bless. Take care. Peace.
يلا يا حلوة يلا يا طعمة
باي باي
يلا مع السلامة هي بنت قدام المدرسة المديرة هتطرد الخصم مو وقته دحين يلا يا بابا الناس يلا مع السلامة مو وقته دحين قدام المدرسة امشي يا شيخة يلا مع يا شيخة خش